Okay, so we already spoke, we already heard from the others regarding the enemies of the snails. You should know that there are enemies regarding the plants, and there are other enemies regarding the snails. So let's have a look first to the birds. Some of the enemies, they are only for the outdoor system. All the enemies are for the outdoor system, except that I told earlier that it's more rare, the parasites, but all the rest, it does exist to the outdoor system. Like birds can really destroy a snail farm, especially if they are seabirds, because they are going to the snail farm, they are hatching, they are taking the snails, and they are going away to their nets in order to feed the baby birds. So you never realize that you lose your production, and you realize it, when you will realize it, it will be very, very late. So from the birds, you don't really have signs like broken shells that they help us to realize if we have birds or other enemies. So if someone lives close to a lake, if someone lives close to the sea, it's better to avoid the outdoor system. Otherwise, has to think about an extra cost that it will be the net, the fishing net actually, for the birds, as a protection for the birds. Then we have the insects. As I already mentioned, we have insects that they only influence our vegetables, but there are other insects, like in this picture, we have like 5, here you see 5 different insects, but they are not only these are the families that they have behind. For example, there are Carabidae, there are Latin names that they have, and they really can create a very bad situation in a snail farm. Unfortunately, regarding this kind of insects here, we don't really have, till today at least, any treatment, any biological treatment. So the question to be an organic or not, it's based to these insects. If someone will decide to have an organic farm, has to deal with the fact that we'll have at least 50% less of the final production if we'll decide to not do any treatment, chemical treatment for these insects. They can really cause a big mortality in a snail farm. Even the snail farm is in a greenhouse, in a polytunnel, or even is an outdoor snail farm. They are very dangerous. Very often people say to me, no, I don't have insects. Where humidity is, Davide, he is laughing, Stefan, he is laughing too, and they are laughing because they told to me I don't have any insects, and then I told them where to have a look, and then they find out the insects. And yes, they can create honestly a very big damage in a snail farm. So I repeat that unfortunately it's not any biological treatment for these insects. From the other hand, for the other insects, like for example, these animals, I don't know how is the name in English. Okay, grasshopper. Okay, you can have a biological treatment. Even the biological treatment for this type of enemies, even the chemical treatment for these insects, they don't influence the snails. But be careful. It doesn't mean that when we use a chemical product that we are able to go the second day and do the harvest. Of course not. We have to wait, and we have to wait at least for 40 days in order to be able to collect our snails. Then we need to dry them in our store for at least 5-6 days, so to be sure that the snails, they are clean. Remember that the snails, they don't have blood, but it doesn't mean that we don't have blood too. It doesn't mean that if we will put a poison, for example, for the rodents, it doesn't mean that the second day, the third day, we can collect, pick up the snails and sell them for food. Because from the moment that we collect the snails, they are not considered anymore like animals in our farm, but they consider as a food for the human beings. So we have to pay attention, we have to be very, very careful. And the government, maybe here in Ireland, they don't have yet the experience of asking you to make several analyses, but from the European Community laws, even regarding the snail farmers, they can ask you to analyze your snails from the chemical products, how they do to the other food too. Okay? It makes sense. It's for our safety. So we want to protect our production, but at the same time we want to protect our consumers. Another enemy, they are the rodents, okay, the mouses. They can create a real issue as well, because they are eating the snails. And when you have any materials in your snail farm, like woods, they come all together, the rodents, and they start to break the cells and then eat the snails. Some of the snail farmers, they prefer to put some, to have some cats, okay, in their farm, but in some cases the cats, they don't really remain for more than a week. So again, you need to bring other cats. So it's better to have a space between your snail farm and your perimeter of your land, in order to be able to put any poison, in order to be able to put any chemical against the rodents, but at the same time to be protected from other animals that they cannot approach your land. I don't know if it makes sense to you what I said. Okay, it was a bit difficult, but this is the most important, because if you will have mouses, rodents or not, in one day or in another day you will figure out. If you have birds or if you have insects, maybe one day you will be able to understand the signs, or to understand, to see some broken cells, so you will understand these enemies. The parasites, they are the most difficult enemies, because you are not really able to see them very quick. From the moment that you will have a parasite in your snail, you have almost 6 weeks to save your production. So it means that from the moment that you will do an analysis and you will figure out that it's something like a nematodes or trematodes, a parasite in your snail farm, you have approximately 6 weeks to do the treatment. I am working for the parasites the last 3 years with several universities. We find out a treatment, but I will never share this treatment, because it's like the pill, you know. For example, a few years ago, we had some pills for the headache. After 5 years, they changed these pills, and now we have new. Nowadays, we have pills for the headache. They're even better. But for the parasites, I'm afraid that if the snail farmers, they will start to do the treatment in advance, then the parasites, with the years, they will be stronger and stronger, so we will not be able to have other solution and do another treatment. So this is the reason that I'm not sharing this secret with you, but the only thing that you should know is that it really exists a treatment. I was very, very disappointed when I figured out that people with a lot of experience, that they have experience in snail farming with 30 years or 40 years from Italy, from France, from Germany, from other countries, they never spoke about the parasites, they never spoke about that is the main reason of the failure in a snail farm, and they never spoke about if it is any treatment or not. So this made me decide to spend my life, and I say my life because I took the risk. I took the risk to do several treatments and to lose again and again a lot of snails in order to understand how I can survive them. Now I am in the happy position to tell you and share with you that we find out that in the snails, in 99% of the snail farmers that they had issues with parasites, it was the trematodes, and especially it was this Phaseolopsis busci. So now we know, now we are able to recognize a snail, but only when the snail is alive, to recognize if it has the parasites or not. The lady there before, she made a very nice question about the parasites, I think. And yes, you are able to understand, but it really needs experience to understand if your snails have parasites or not. It's not easy. It's not easy at all, but with the years you are able to understand it. And you understand it because the mortality that caused the parasites, it caused only to the big mature snails. So when in a snail farm, you go to in 1 square meter and you figure out that from the 100 dead snails, the 80%, the 80 of these snails that they are died are mature snails. So your first thought, your first thing that you have to think about, they are parasites. So you have some signs. The reason is that the parasites, the snails, you know, they have a hole, to breathe. But the mature snails, they have 2 holes. One is the organ, and the other is for the breath, to breathe. So that's why the parasites, they are going to the hole of the organs of the snails, and they influence the snails. From the moment that the parasite it will go inside to a snail, it needs 6 weeks to be to leave the new eggs of the parasite. So in the time that they will leave the new eggs of parasites, then the snail, it will die. So it's not easy, but from my experience regarding parasites is that in an outdoor snail farm, it's very, very rare. In an indoor snail farm, there are always parasites. In the snails that they are coming from the nature, there are always parasites. And then we have the mites, and we have also the acari. Acari, they are not rare. You can see acari in several snail farms, but acari, they don't kill snails. They just make snails be bored, like they don't want to eat, they don't want to mate. So you have another, you can easily understand if you have acari, because you will put feed today, and you will figure out after 2-3 days that the feed, it will remain in the same position, that they don't want to eat. So even I said before that the snails, they are not like cows or sheep or other big animals, so it's not very easy to communicate with them. I think that now with my message, I am saying to you that it needs time in order to be able to understand their needs. It's not easy, but it's not impossible, okay? So we have also weather conditions that we're always we're thinking about this issue too. It can cause mortality of snails, but not when we have 2 degrees or when we have 42 degrees, but when we have a sudden change of the temperature, okay? For example, if during the day we have 24 and the night I have suddenly 6, some of the snails, they will be stressed and they're gonna die. Then hot wind during the summer can dehydrate the snails, but I don't think that here in Ireland you have hot wind anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. Be patient, the next slide, it will be for Ireland. Wait. Okay, then hail can destroy vegetation and in some cases can break snails' cells. I know that you have very often hails here in Ireland, but it doesn't really make, it doesn't really create mortality. The last, it's very, very important for the Irish potential snail farmers. The water stagnation and floods can suffocate the snails. So it means that your land, it has to be up from the road. I don't know if you understand this. Yes? Also, it means that your land, it has to be a little bit with I don't understand, Stefan, I'm sorry. Sloped. Okay? So, my big issue regarding snail farming in Ireland is about the floods and about the water stagnation, because the snails, they will suffer and they will die, and they cannot swim anyway. So, when I see this slide, I'm always thinking about Ireland. High humidity increase the parasites, acari, and especially Pseudomonas. Pseudomonas, it's a bacterium. It can really create a big damage in a snail farm, but all these parasites, they really like humidity. And thanks God, you have a lot of humidity here in Ireland. Then the excessive rainwater creates escape of snails. Davide, he just understood, he just figured out today that it exists the electrical fence from Stefan's picture. I mean, otherwise, the snails, they will not, okay, forget about the excessive rainwater from the rains that makes snails escape. It's like the snails are like us. If we go in a place and we have fun and we have food and beer, we stay there. If we go to a place that they don't give us to eat or drink, we want to go away, and we want to go away fast as possible. And believe me, one snail can move 4 meters in 1 hour. So imagine during the night, it means that they can they can start from Tullamore and they can be next day, I don't know, in Dublin. So, okay, maybe not in the same 24 hours, but maybe after a few days, yes. So I know that most of you, they are believing that snails are very slow, but it's just mathematics again. 1 hour, 4 meters. During the night, because the snails, they are moving during the night, there are a lot of hours that they are alone without us. We're not there during the night, we're there during the day. So we have to pay attention because the snails, even they are not have good time in the snail farm, even because it rains every day and they suffer from the humidity and from the water, they will try to escape. So for this reason, the electrical fence is very, very important. Thanks to the French, because the French, they were the first that they discovered this system, and they helped all of us globally with snail farming to avoid this escape. Otherwise, we lose a lot of snails every year. Then it's very, very important the construction of the snail farm. It's very important to choose how it will be situated, the snail farm, in our land. We need the sun. We need to know from which side the wind it comes during the summer or during the winter. These are very important information for the potential farmers before they will make their own decision to start with this business. Then the high humidity increase the quantity of carbon dioxide. It's a Greek word, so I cannot spell it in English. Dioxide. Okay, dioxide, which can suffocate the snails, because the snails, they need oxygen like us, and already when they breathe, they have a lot of percentual of carbon dioxide. So high humidity also increase this quantity. And then the frost, that you have also frost here in Ireland very often, can cause high mortality during the winter without the antifreeze net as a protection. The antifreeze net, it has to do with the frost, but also with the low temperatures. Low temperature we consider under 4 degrees during the night for at least 10 days on a row. Okay? During the winter, the snails, they are trying to protect themselves. So one of the jobs that the snail farmers have to do in advance is to take away, to pick up the empty cells, the dead snails. Otherwise, the small snails, they will go inside to the cells in order to cover their cells. You see the picture. So it means that the small snails, they will remain in the soil and they will not go for the hibernation as they're supposed to go. Here are some nice pictures, because I really enjoy these mortality pictures, and the reason that I enjoy these pictures is because they make me learn from my mistakes. So they're good that we have these pictures, and the reason here is that the snails, they remain in the soil and they never drive themselves for the hibernation. You see these pictures too. Also, we have mortality caused from frost. You see this white thing in the vegetation. This is always in an outdoor snail farm, okay? Because if you are in the indoor, you don't have to worry about these conditions. These snails are frozen not because we cooked them and we frozen them. They were frozen direct from the frost. These are the snails with mortality because of the hail and broken cells, usually caused from hail. So what we have to do is to be prepared in advance for the hibernation. When we decide to have a greenhouse indoor, or in the polytunnel, but we still have the vegetables, or in an outdoor system, we should cut the plants, and then the snails, they will not feel anymore the protection from the plants. They will not feel the plants like an umbrella, so they will start to do like this the soil. Farrow. Okay, the soil, and they will go inside to the soil, and they will remain there for a long period. If they have to remain there for 1 month, they will stay for 1 month. If they have to stay there for 4 years, they will stay for 4 years. It depends of the temperature, it depends of the weather conditions. In order to wake up the snails after the hibernation season, it means that we have approximately 7-8 degrees for at least 10 days on a row during the night. So we need 7 to 8 degrees in order to wake up the snails again in the spring. The snails, they never go alone to bed. So they never go alone for the hibernation or even for the estivation. Here in Ireland, you will never have estivation because the estivation, it starts after the 24 degrees. So you are just, let's say, the point that maybe you will have for 1-2 days during the August maybe, but you have to deal only with the hibernation during the winter. So the snails, they are going all together in different holes, and when they will be all in the ground, then we put the antifreeze net. The antifreeze net, it's not obligate for all the snail farmers. It depends again from where is your snail farm, if you have frost, if you are expecting frost, if the temperature goes lower of 4 degrees, okay? So mainly is used in areas with temperatures less than 4 degrees and in areas where frost occurs. So it's not for all the snail farmers, but it's good for you to know that it exists. So it is a material that at least in the north countries they choose to put. Like to have an idea about the net. This picture is from north of Greece, okay, with the snow. The snails, they are not dying with the snow because the snow, it works like a protection for the snails. It increases actually the temperature. But be careful, because when this snow, it becomes water, we have to be sure that this water, it will go away from our snail farm. Otherwise, it will kill the snails. You see again the antifreeze net. Okay, here you see the frost. Okay, here is snow again. These pictures, they are very, very common also in North Italy and in Germany as well. Okay, for all these worries, let's say, that we are worried about, we create an insurance in Greece, and till today, because Greeks in general, they are not really like insurance stuff. let's say that in Greece we're only 70 that we have insurance our production in snail farm, because we are not used to have insurance. We have insurance only with the things that we are obligated from the government to have, you know, for the car, for insurance for the salary, you know, for the employees. But for the rest of the things, we are not, our mentality is not to have the insurance. But we had a nice appointment when Eva and Stefan, they came in Greece to meet me like a month ago, almost. We had an appointment with the insurance company in Greece that they are supported from Lloyd's in UK, because the insurance is not from a Greek company, it's from the Lloyd's. I think that you maybe all know Lloyd's. Yes? Maybe not? Yes? Okay, so they can provide, they already provide the insurance in Greece for the hail, fire, lightning, spring frost, flood, storms, for the production, but not for the construction, and no for the materials of the construction. And when the guys, they came in Greece, we had a nice conversation, and we saw the possibility to have an insurance in Ireland too. I'm saying the possibility because even Lloyd's, they required a minimum 16 snail farmers as a minimum number in order to have the insurance in Ireland too. So it's good to know that maybe it will be also this possibility here in Ireland, okay? Because I know that people, they are really afraid the weather conditions here in Ireland. So it's good to know that maybe you have this possibility too. Then I would like to speak with you, to share with you some of the promotion methods that we use as a company. And there are promotion methods that I think that also the Irish snail farmers already use. For example, in Italy, they have more than 300 food festivals per year, and they don't buy snails from other countries. I said this to Davide before, that the Italians, for the festivals, they only buy snails from the local snail farmers. And this is very good. And I'm saying that it's very good, and I say this, that I used to export in Italy. But it's very good because they support their own snail farmers for the festivals. Then we have food tastings, because I know that Ireland, for Irish, it's not a common plate, the snails. I mean, it's not that you are eating snails every week. So in order to create a new market, you really need to have a food tastings and make people learn this new gourmet or traditional plate. Then the social media, the fact that the press writes about Eva, or the press writes about Stefana, or about Catherine, or about other existing snail farmers here, it really helps you as a potential farmer to establish a market here in Ireland and to create a strong brand name for abroad. So what Eva said before, I totally agree with her too, that the potential snail farmers, they will not be competitors, they will be partners. Maybe, I don't know your mentality, but at least in Greece, when a snail farmer take the decision to create a snail farm, they always think each other as a competitor. But the market is huge, the request is very big. So we don't have to think about okay, there will not be markets, so what I will do with my snails, what he will do with his snails. The important is to create a cooperation, first of all, with the Irish existing snail farmers, and then to create also a collaboration with other snail farmers abroad to steal a little of their experience. Like Stefan Du, for example, he steals a little bit of my experience. And I steal a little bit of his smile. Okay, so it's good to create collaborations even from other countries and see what they're doing in Germany, what they're doing in France, what they're doing in Greece. But first of all, you should collaborate each other, and I think with the NOTS and with the programs that they provide, they make people understand that when they are united, they can go further. Because even now, with the Brexit, allowed me to say that it's more important for you to be united for the exports and don't think only the UK as a market. It is a market also in UK for snails, but you can also go in other countries too. But to go in France only with one tone, they will not even talk to you in the phone. Okay, if you will say that you have only one tone. But if you will go to knock the door in a buyer in France or even in Italy or even another European country, and you will say that, look, we are 10 farmers and we have 30 tones or 50 tones, it seems more serious, and of course the door it will open easily. Then you can provide snails to the restaurants, even local. You can provide snails to the open markets, to the deli shops, to the shops with traditional products, casinos and hotels, maybe for the catering. Of course, for private consumption. And of course, another method is to learn about you, that you exist, is to participate to exhibitions, to the fairs. Two of the biggest food fairs, they are in Paris and in Germany. 1 year is in Paris, the Cial. The next year it's always is the Anuga in Germany. But you cannot go there alone. And the reason is that, for example, if Stefan wants to go in Cial alone, it means that he needs approximately 30,000 euros to have a stand, because it's very, very expensive exhibition. But it's an exhibition that it's a well-known exhibition, it's a very famous exhibition for food. So if you want to participate also in global exhibitions, again, you need to be united and go 3-4 snail farmers together, so to split the costs and be able to well know the people about the Irish snail. Okay, you can see some several stands in different exhibitions. You can see that when you go to sell your fresh product, you need to have at least your business card. There are very specified, it's a very specified law regarding, European law regarding what you have to write in your products, or even for the fresh, that you need to follow these rules in order to export. And then you have to remember that there are different snail products. It is the fresh, there are the canned, there are the jars, there are the frozen, ready meals, the shells, they have another market, and caviar, and also the cosmetics. With the snails, you have a lot of possibilities, but there are different channels and you need a different know-how. A lot of times, it's very common, it's a very common error that people believe that they can do everything. You cannot produce snails, fresh snails for this market, and at the same time create caviar too. or in the same time do ready-to-eat meals and cosmetics together. No, because there are different markets. You need different market research, first of all, and then you need a different know-how. This is for the fresh, some pictures. Okay, they can be in the nets, they can be in the plastic boxes in order to sell them in the market or in the supermarket or to the privates. Then there do exist a lot of canned products in the market. More common are in the French market, the canned products. Okay, you see here. Then there are also the jars. It's a trend. Last years, it's a trend that people, they prefer the jars, and the reason is that they prefer to see the product. Because with a jar, with a can, you are not able to see what is inside. So with a jar, you have this possibility to see the product. Then there are a lot of frozen as well. Here in Ireland, in the Lidl supermarket, there are coming snails from France, from a French company. The snails, they are coming from origin Turkey. So the origin is Turkey. They are going to France. In France, they are doing the packaging. Then they are selling this to Germany, to the Lidl supermarket, and from Germany, the snails, they are coming to Ireland. Okay, so, and people believes, because they will pay €2 or €3, people believe that they are very, very cheap, the snails. And I'm saying, no, there are only 12 pieces. There are only 12 snails that they cost €2.39. It's very, very expensive. But I already told you, they start from Turkey, they go to France, from France they go to Germany, and from Germany to Greece or Ireland. Okay? Then, okay, I didn't find other ready meals, and that's why I use mine. Okay? At least they don't have these recipes, because we try to separate ourselves from what is already in the market, what exists already in the market. Okay, we spoke about pasta risotto too. What also has a value, there are also the empty cells. The empty cells, a lot of times we can use them in order to create our soil better, to improve our soil, because the cells, they are very rich of calcium, but also the empty cells, they have another market again, or they can go in the French market, because for the famous recipe à la bourguignon, they use the meat and the empty cells. So it does exist another market for the cells too. Then we have also the caviar. It's a trend in internet regarding the caviar. I think that the procedure of a caviar, it's very difficult. We don't really have, I don't have a clue how they produce it. But I think that it's very, very difficult, the procedure, and then the market, it doesn't really exist any market. Maybe there will be 2, 4, 10 fancy restaurants with some top chefs that they would like to try to put a little bit of caviar in their plates. It's a very expensive product, but my opinion is that you need a real market research before you were thinking to create caviar. You see different packaging, okay, from different companies. Most of them they are in Lithuania, in Poland, and that they produce in Bulgaria, that they produce caviar. First of all, they have the know-how, and then the labor hour, it doesn't really cost a lot of money, so they produce caviar that is a very expensive product. Then, from the snails, from the slime of the snails, they do exist also a lot of companies in Italy. Last years, there are a lot of Italian companies that they are doing cosmetics. They do exist a lot also in France, but they have a very big competitors from Asia. They create creams for the body, for the face, from the slime of a snail. This is another market. Okay? So you see also different firms, different companies. And this is my email. You can also take my business card. I have them in the table. You can always write to me if you have any questions. I'm used to answer very quick, but now with the baby I cannot promise you. But you can always write to me, and you will take an answer of your questions. I don't charge nothing for the questions. I have to say this to the people, because people believe that, oh, Penny, maybe she will ask money in order to answer to my questions. Even you are a potential snail farmer, even you are an existing snail farmer, I would like to discuss about snail farming or snail farming problems. For the conclusion, I would like to thank NOTS, because I trust them, they trust me, and they gave me the chance to be here again, and they gave me the chance to visit Ireland from the first time since last year. Okay, and thank you because you paid attention to this English that it's not easy to understand. Thank you very much.